Hello everyone, I'm Pete O'Farrell.
And I'm Jessica Kurgo. This is your November installment of Walpole News Today. The Select Board voted in a 4-to-1 majority to adopt a tax shift at their November 15th meeting. The board held a public hearing on the town's tax classification with input from the Board of Assessors, the Economic Development Commission, and Walpole residents. Here's more from that hearing.
Ever since 2.5 has been in place back in 1980, so it's over 40 years, an option for towns, cities and towns in Massachusetts has been to shift some of that tax burden from the residential property owners to the commercial, industrial, and personal property owners. Walpole's done that since 1990, so we're almost into 30 years right now on that.
With the current shift of 1.275%, it is true that that reduces the residential side of the equation. And with that current shift, the average single family saves $372, correct?
That's correct.
That $6,500 is pushing a lot, even though it's $372 on average savings. It's a lot in aggregate that moves over to what, a couple hundred commercial entities that then absorb that.
To me, a small shift seems appropriate at this time. Some of our, we're not, when you look at the whole of Norfolk County, we're not at the bottom and we're not at the top. And there's obviously a lot of communities in Norfolk County that do not have much of a commercial base, so they do not have a shift at all. And nor do we have the commercial base of a Canton, a Dedham, Norwood, Westwood, which have a much higher shift.
I'd probably be leaning towards staying the same, which is what I've said, 8 years in a row, probably, or 7 years in a row. Because we don't want to drive the businesses out of town.
Hammering down on the commercial and industrial business right now, I think is a mistake, and we voted unanimously to keep it where it was.
Because some of us, personally, cannot tighten our belt any tighter than it already is.
You can't have a surplus every year and then raise the taxes on the surplus. It doesn't make sense.
A motion to adopt a shift of 1.275 with a residential factor of 0.9615 for fiscal year 2023.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And abstained? The motion passes 4-1.
Walpole restaurants will once again have the opportunity to extend their hours of operation on New Year's Eve. In early November, the Select Board voted unanimously to allow any establishment with an on-premises alcohol license to remain open until 2 a.m. on January 1st, provided that the restaurant notifies the town of their intention to do so by December 20th.
So this is something that hasn't come before the board in recent years, mainly due to COVID. Because of the restrictions, there was no real need to offer this. So it's under the board's discretion whether they allow establishments to serve till 2 a.m. It's a Saturday night, so I'm thinking there'll be more places that will be willing to partake in this. I do have one condition in the motion that they do let us know by December 20th if they plan on doing this, so we can inform the police department so they're aware. So if this is approved by the board, I'll reach out to everybody and just make them aware that you're allowing this, but they do have to let us know if they're going to partake in it.
Motion to approve extension of hours on New Year's Eve until 2 a.m. with the following conditions. 1, no alcoholic beverages to be served after 2 a.m. and all outdoor lights to be turned off at closing. 2, all patrons to have vacated the premise by 2:30 and doors be locked. 3, only persons permitted on the property past 2:30 a.m. is a license and employees for work pertaining to the business. And 4, any establishment who wishes to avail of the extension of hours needs to notify the Select Board office by December 20th so the police department can be informed.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0.
Walpole Public Schools are no exception to national trends showing a decline in student achievement after education disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. At a recent school committee meeting, Assistant Superintendent Dr. William Hahn highlighted certain areas of concern during his presentation of the district's 2022 MCAS scores. Here's more from that presentation.
Walpole has experienced similar reductions in scores that we have seen both at the state and national levels. This evening's presentation will certainly reflect data that shows this, but I also want to conclude with how we are moving forward and confident we will continue to meet the needs of our students tomorrow and much further into the future. For ELA, the scores declined in 2022 as compared to 2021 for the state. In particular, writing scores for the state were lower than last year in grades 3 to 8. In addition, grades 3 to 5 showed sharper declines than grades 6 to 8, indicating challenges in early literacy. I compared to 2021, the percentage of students scoring or meeting Meeting or exceeding expectations in math started to recover and increased by 6 percentage points in grades 3 to 8. For Walpole, we increased 2 percentage points. The percentage of students across the state for meeting or exceeding expectations in grade 10 declined. In Walpole, a positive we're looking at is actually from 21 to 22, we had a similar 2% increase as compared to our grades 3 to 8. And ELA, while our SGP was down across the board, we saw it was down especially with students with disabilities. So we have further discussions in a deeper dive, not only with our MSNs and team chairs, but also with our regular traditional educators. We are concerned, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, about the dip that we see in 6th and 7th grade, primarily 6th in ELA and 7th grade, both for ELA and math. And I'll talk a little bit more at length about these two areas and what we're doing about them, but I just want to point out that that's where you see, especially in the area of SGP, which obviously impacts achievement level and meeting and exceeding expectation scores, a dip that we're paying attention to. I don't want to just have it in a silo where we think about it, we have to catch our students up to 2019. What we have to do is ensure that our students are leaders of learners. And so some of the same conversations we had in 2017 and 18 are true for today. In other words, I don't want to be stifled by this idea that we're just simply trying to catch up. Certainly, as we build a new middle school and as we evaluate our curriculum, we are certainly trying to do a lot more.
The Walpole Department of Public Health is expanding its scope of services through a state-funded grant called the State Action for Public Health Excellence Program. Walpole's Public Health Director, Melissa Ranieri, further explained the grant in an interview with Walpole Media. Here's more.
Hi, I'm Jessica with Walpole Media, and today we're joined by Director of Public Health, Melissa Ranieri, to discuss the Public Health Excellence Grant and what it means for Walpole. Can you describe the State Action for Public Health Excellence Grant and how it's designed to help communities?
Sure. So the Public Health Excellence Grant is designed to expand on services that are currently provided by local health departments by potentially utilizing services and sharing services amongst local health departments. In this case, we were on board with, it's 8 communities in total with Walpole, and that's how we originally applied for this service, or this grant rather.
What process did the town go through to secure this grant funding, and how did that process begin?
The process was a collaboration with what's called NC8, so Norfolk County 8. So Walpole with 7 other communities started this. So this is a group that's been together for many, many years, gearing towards the Public Health Excellence Grant. This is something that we started back in 2020. There was a capacity assessment done with NC8 that told us that there was an option for having these shared services, and the capacity assessment, or assessment rather, explain that by providing these public health excellence grants, we could delve a little deeper and provide services to our residents.
How are the funds being used in Walpole and the other municipalities involved?
Sure. So right now, again, it's a collaboration with the 8 other communities, or Walpole being one, so 7 other communities. So we have been able to hire some staff, including an epidemiologist, a community resource specialist, as well as 2 other employees. So right now, those employees are helping out with the epidemiologist. They've helped out doing COVID-19 dashboards. They're able to pull data from each community as needed. So each community of the 8 communities might have different needs, and therefore, they're very accommodating if there's something that we want run, whether it's, tick-borne illnesses, different vaccination rates. They're able to run that and provide data on that. Our community resource specialist is helping out with finding potentially flaws or lapses in services within the communities, which again might differ from community to community. If there's an issue with maybe hunger issues, things like that, food insecurities, where we can provide resources that we might not have. And then 2 of the other employees that are employed by the grant are helping out with inspectional services as necessary.
The Zoning Board of Appeals wants to eliminate ambiguity in Walpole's in-law suite zoning bylaw. At their November 16th meeting, board members discussed potential language to nail down specifications addressed in the bylaw, drawing from previous cases that have come before the board and referencing other towns for guidance. They considered various factors, including the size and number of bedrooms in a unit, means of egress, and connection requirements for the accessory unit. Here's more from their discussion.
It needs to be noted that that is an in-law unit. It's not a rentable unit. That's not something that becomes a 2-family. It's something that is an intended purpose as and an in-law.
So I think if all the definitions are in place that we're going to use,
Yep.
it just makes things easier for
Easier,
us. And it's
simpler.
also easier for the person designing it.
It's not always now Nana coming to
Right.
live. It's older couples
Coming, yes.
selling to the kids and looking for a little place to live attached
Right.
to the same house.
Right now, we're not limiting the number of doors on the front of the house, but I agree with you that I think that that's something that keeps the character of the neighborhood.
I think it should be spelled out in this bylaw that it creates what it's meant to, which is the openness concept of this is an accessory to the actual dwelling, it's for next of kin.
You buy a house in a single-family neighborhood, that's what you're buying into. And if all of a sudden there's an accessory in-law suite, that changes things in the neighborhood. I'm very much in favor of the in-law suite. Most people, I think, it's working, but we want to make sure it works the best.
The Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners is looking to hire an outside consultant as part of their effort to supplement the Walpole water supply through a connection with the Massachusetts Water Resource Association. The board met with an MWRA consultant on December 1st to discuss the admission process and hopes to convince town representatives of the issue's urgency before the spring town meeting.
I think we should schedule a meeting with both the selectmen and the finance committee, because if they're definitely not, it will get killed at town meeting and then the issue's dead.
The finance committee and the capital budget committee both think they look at things from a budget year to a budget year kind of thing, that they think they can always kick the can down the road and come back and bite the apple next year or 2 years. And this isn't that case.
We need an article, at least one, if not two, like we had previously. One that just says, yes, the town's in favor, and the other to authorize any sort of funds that are needed to connect to at a minimum, if we get the approval, we're going to need at least a meter.
What we have to assess is very quickly is the sincerity on the other side. Once they hear our case, and we know that they understand our case, to find out the legitimacy and the objectivity that we have to look at this.
In early November, town officials gathered at the site of the new middle school building for the project's groundbreaking ceremony, officially marking the start of the construction on the new school. State representatives and members from the Massachusetts School Building Authority were also in attendance. Here's more from the event.
Thanks again to everyone that has made today possible. I look forward to the day when the first of many generations of Walpole's young people will begin the middle school journey in this amazing new facility. Thank you.
With the new middle school, we can deliver new programming and offerings that address the district vision statement to teach future-ready skills that enable our students to be effective communicators, critical and creative thinkers, and problem solvers.
I have no doubt this is going to be on time and as close to budget as it possibly can in these crazy budgetary times. And why do I say that? Because that's what they do for us all over the Commonwealth. So congratulations to you folks here for choosing that great group of people.
Walpole cherishes education. Walpole cherishes the places of learning in which education is imparted, but most especially and most importantly, Walpole cherishes the school children who receive that education and indeed thrive because of it.
1, 2, 3.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in downtown Walpole. On Saturday, November 26th, the Walpole Chamber of Commerce held their annual Santa Parade and tree lighting on the town common. Here's more from those events.
Frosty the snowman knew the sun was hot that day, so he said, let's run and we'll have some fun now before I melt away. Down to the village with a broomstick in his hand, running here and there all around the square, singing, catch me if you can. Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He Doesn't care if you're rich or poor, he loves you just the same. Santa knows we're all God's children, that makes everything right. Fill your heart with Christmas cheer, 'cause Santa comes tonight. But here comes Santa, go, here comes Santa, right down the center. Welcome, Santa! Merry Christmas!
Jim, you ready? All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy.
The Junior Women's Club of Walpole kicked off the holiday season with their second annual Festival of Trees on Saturday, December 3rd and Sunday, December 4th. Here's more from that story.
One of the group's several fundraising efforts throughout the year, the Festival of Trees puts a fun new spin on the age-old annual tradition of shopping for a Christmas tree. While donors decorate their trees in preparation for the weekend event, Club President Jennifer Healy shares more about how the fundraiser brings vendors and community members together to raise money before the holiday season.
We were looking for a new fundraiser. We've been doing same fundraisers kind of year after year, and that while they're all very well received and very well attended, we wanted something different. So one of our members, about 2 years ago, kind of mid-COVID, came up with this idea of coming up with a Festival of Trees. So it was a great way to come out of our COVID pandemic last year and start something new in the town. Probably late September, early October, we start kind of putting the word out within the community, explaining that what we're doing, that we're going to collect some trees, and donors will actually bring the tree. They decorate it here, what you're seeing, what's happening behind us, and throughout the weekend, after the trees are all set up, the guests will decide if they want to try to take a chance, buy a raffle ticket on a tree, and they'll actually win the full decorated tree. Some trees have lottery tickets, some have gift cards for local restaurants, some have Bruins tickets. So you not only get a fully decorated Christmas tree, you're also getting a great prize to go along with it.
Attendees strolled through the Council on Aging's Murphy Room over the course of the two-day event, admiring the many trees donated and decorated by small businesses and local town departments. Enticed by the festive decorating, exciting prizes, or both, participants would submit their raffle tickets for a chance to take home their tree of choice and any prizes included.
So it was very well received last year. I think we had over 500 people attend over the 2 days. We made a great amount of money that we've been able to use to fund our events throughout the year. And we had 34 trees last year. This year we've got 43 trees. As far as doing anything different, we're trying to keep the format the same. It's worked really well. And what we're just refining it as we go each year. So getting people in here earlier to set up their trees, starting earlier so we're able to actually solicit for some more trees. And so we're just refining it as we go.
Membership for the Junior Women's Club of Walpole has nearly tripled since the group's inception in 1988. Healy becomes teary-eyed as she describes the club's effort to support the Walpole community.
We've got about 40 to 50 women on a pretty regular basis. Some years the numbers fluctuate, but we've got a great group of women who what we're all passionate about doing is just trying to do something for someone else. And when we're able to see, the smiles on the senior's face when we're in here doing an event, or that we know that we're giving to a family who's maybe going through a very tough time, it's going to make me cry. Everyone knows I cry over this. It's so rewarding to know that we're doing something for someone else.
More information on the Junior Women's Club of Walpole and how to join can be found at their website, thejwcw.org. For Walpole Media, this is Jessica Kurgo. Longtime town employee Richard McCarthy was selected as the Friends of St. Patrick's 2023 Person of the Year. For over 3 decades, the Friends of St. Patrick's Board of Directors has recognized one individual each year to choose where the group will direct fundraising efforts. I sat down with Group President Donnell Murphy to learn more about Rich and the upcoming St. Patrick's Day celebration. Here's more from our conversation. Can you start by telling us a little bit about the history of the Friends of St. Patrick's and what the organization's mission is?
Back in the 80s, my father and a couple local prominent business people got together and wanted to celebrate St. Patrick's in some way, all being Irish and everything. So since then, what the mission is of the Friends of St. Patrick's is we give back to people in need and people that need or in dire needs of things, and we give to organizations in town that help people as well. What we kind of do in the Friends of St. Patrick's is we have the person of the year recommend 2 or 3 charities to us, and then from the 2 or 3 charities, the funds that come from that day, we end up giving to the 2 or 3 charities.
Can you tell us about what criteria the board looks at to select the person of the year?
What we're really looking for is a person that really centers around Walpole. And in the beginning, I guess you should say there was kind of more regional people and things like that, like Patriot players or that type of thing, people that had a little more fame or notoriety. But since then, the board's really brought it back to people that help people in Walpole and people that are involved in the community and people that help other people. This year's recipient, who's been on the radar for quite some time, Richard McCarthy, is going to be our 35th Person of the Year in 2023. I'm sure a lot of the people here in the town of Walpole know Rich McCarthy. He's well known. I mean, he is really into the Council on Aging. He's involved a lot on Walpole Recreation. He's involved as well with Walpole Media. He's involved as well with the Walpole Alumni Association. He works with the Walpole Beautification Committee. He formerly ran the Walpole Little League for a long time, and then after that he was managing and doing the Empires for the Little League for quite some time. He worked most of his life in the Walpole school systems. He's still now very involved in the community. He's a constable here in Norfolk. He's just a guy with a big, generous heart that gives a lot to the community and a lot to the town. Even now, he drives around and helps senior citizens and giving them rides to doctor's appointments. And you'll always see him at town hall, and you'll always see him involved in fundraising for local organizations. And he's really a guy that's really worthy of being the Person of the Year.
And can you tell us a little bit about how or what the Friends of St. Patrick's celebration will look like this year?
Well, I know we had to take a couple years off for COVID, but we were back last year. So we're going to have this year at 4 Point Sheraton in Norwood. This year, by coincidence, it's going to be actually on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. The day starts off with a parade downtown at 11 o'clock, followed by a short little speech session for the Person of the Year on the Common. From there, we all head over to 4 Point Sheraton. There'll be a couple trolleys here on the Common that will take people down that choose to go that way, but there'll be plenty of parking at 4 Point Sheraton. And then at noontime, we start off with a cocktail hour down there, and then at 1 o'clock, the luncheon starts. We have a great raffle.
What do you attribute the success of the Friends of St. Patrick's organization over these past 35 years to?
Yes, well, it's been difficult. I mean, we're great to be supported by a lot of local businesses and a lot of individuals in town. We did go through some tough times here in the last 2 years because we only do fundraise 1 day a year. We have the event, and that's the only form where we do our fundraising. And we think that people help us out because they know what we do and where it goes and how it stays local, that it's important, and I think that's helped us survive. Off-season, we also do a lot of giving to individuals that you never hear about, individuals that can't make their bills, can't provide heat. And the Friends of St. Patrick's is there to help out and give.
And where can people go for either more information about the upcoming celebration or to buy tickets?
Well, we're still putting it together right now. Right after the first of the year, we should be able to start getting it up on the website and having tickets available. And they can go to friendsofstpatrick.org and get all the information there.
The Walpole community is expressing their support for a Walpole police officer who was injured in a motor vehicle collision on Monday, November 21st. According to a press release from the police department, the officer sustained significant injuries and was subsequently transported to a Boston hospital. The civilian in the accident was uninjured and released after an evaluation. The department notified the public that the officer was released from the hospital the following day. The accident is currently under investigation by crash reconstruction experts. And on to something lighter. Fall sports have drawn to a close at Walpole High School, and the winter sports season has begun.
Let's hand it over to downtown Rick Brown for a closer look.
Thank you, Jess and Pete. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea. My name is Rick Brown, your voice of Walpole High Sports, with a roundup of sports activities here at Walpole High School during the month of November and the MIAA playoffs. We'll also do a quick look ahead to the upcoming winter season sports. We're going to start off by noting a couple of Walpole High coaches for awards they were recently given. Girls basketball coach Dave Wall was named Coach of the Year by the Massachusetts High School Coaches Association, and longtime WHS football, wrestling, and track coach Barry Greener was given the Lifetime Service to Wrestling Award by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Congratulations to both of these coaches for your awards and for bringing recognition and dedication to Walpole High athletics. Walpole football closed out the 2022 campaign with a runaway 37-6 victory over Weymouth on Thanksgiving Day. The win enabled the Gridmen to close out the year with 9 wins and a pair of losses, their best record since going 11-1 in 2014. Also, the 367 points scored by the Timberwolves was the most since netting 436 in 2012. For the second straight year, the field hockey team lost in the state championship game at the same location to the same school, Andover, by an identical 1-0 score. The Porkers closed out the year with 21 wins and 2 losses after tournament victories over Attleboro, Concord Carlisle, Winchester, and Wachusett Regional. At the conclusion of the season, it was announced that senior midfielder Karen Birch was named to the National Field Hockey Coaches Association All-Regional Team. Congratulations, Karen. The boys soccer team stopped Westwood 1-0 in the opening round of their tourney, but fell to top-seeded Oliver Ames 4-0 to close out the year with a 4-6-9 record. The girls soccer team ended with a 6-9-4 mark after being ousted from tourney play with a loss to Mansfield. Moving on to the 2022-2023 winter sports, the girls basketball team, which welcomed back all but one of last year's 18-5 team, will play 18 regular season games starting December 13th at Needham. The boys basketball squad will have at least 17 regular season games, also starting on December 13th at home against the Rockets. Boys ice hockey is slated to play at least 15 regular season contests starting December 14th against Needham at their home rink, Rodman Arena on Route 1. The girls ice hockey team will welcome new interim coaches Bob England and Mike Roof as they kick off an 18-game season with their initial game December 10th against Mansfield, Oliver Ames, Foxborough at the Foxborough Sports Center. Wrestling has at least 11 matches scheduled. The Timberwolf Matmen will kick off the year in the Oliver Ames tournament on December 10th. Well, that's all for this month. Good luck to all the Walpole High athletes this winter, and be sure to watch these games and many others on Walpole Media Corporation's cable TV stations. We'll see you again next month. Oh, by the way, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a relaxing holiday break from school.
That's all for this month's show. Check out our YouTube channel for more information on today's stories.
And don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on meetings, sports, and other events in town. For Walpole News Today, I'm Jessica Kurgo.
And I'm Pete O'Farrell. We'll see you next time.